There's a man in northern France. His name is Marc Egret. His family has farmed the same land for 11 generations. 300 years of the same soil, the same wheat, the same sky. Grey Goose uses his farm in their marketing. Not to make better vodka, to make you feel better about buying it. That is the part of this story that nobody has explained to you yet. And by the time this video is over, you will understand a financial operation that was disguised as a brand. One that turned a commodity product, something that legally cannot have a taste, into a $2.2 billion asset in 7 years, with almost no advertising. This is not a story about vodka. This is a story about how supply chains get weaponized, how farmers become props, how a bottle of neutral liquid gets laundered into a luxury good, and how that exact same operation is quietly running on you right now in categories you have never once questioned. Let's begin. First, let's understand what vodka actually is. Not what the ads say, what the law says. In the United States, vodka is legally defined as a neutral spirit. That means no distinctive taste, no distinctive smell, no color. The entire technical goal of making vodka is to remove all character from the liquid. The better the vodka, by definition, the more it tastes like nothing. Read that again. The better the vodka, the more it tastes like nothing. This matters because in 1996, a 76-year-old liquor importer named Sidney Frank stared at the American vodka shelf and saw something extraordinary. Nobody was selling a $30 bottle of nothing, and he was about to figure out why that was the most profitable gap in consumer goods. But here is where the story takes a turn that other videos skip past. Sidney Frank did not just create a luxury brand. He created something more sophisticated than that. He built what economists would now call a perception arbitrage machine. Let's explain what that means in plain language. Arbitrage. That is, when you buy something cheap in one place and sell it expensive somewhere else by exploiting a gap. Financial traders do it with currencies. Sidney Frank did it with meaning. He took wheat, cheap industrial wheat, fermented it, distilled it into a neutral spirit, bottled it, and then, this is the key step, he moved it through an entirely constructed narrative supply chain. A chain designed not to improve the liquid, but to attach emotional value to it before it reached your hand. That process, turning a commodity into a luxury good through a manufactured story, is luxury laundering. And Grey Goose was its first industrial-scale operation in the spirits world. Here is how the machine was built, step by step. Step 1. He chose France. Not because France produces good vodka. France has no vodka tradition, no vodka heritage, no vodka history at all. Russia has that. Poland has that. France makes wine, champagne, perfume, Chanel, Michelin-starred food. Sidney understood something about the human brain that marketers call country of origin bias. It works like this. When you see the words "made in France" on a product, your brain automatically triggers a stored association. France equals luxury. France equals quality. France equals things that cost more and are worth it. This is not a choice your conscious mind makes. It is a reflex, an automatic shortcut that has been built up over decades of exposure to French luxury brands. Sidney exploited that shortcut deliberately. He stamped "Product of France" on a bottle of neutral spirit and watched the reflex activate. Immediately, in every market he entered. This is psychologically documented. A 2011 study published in the Journal of Consumer Psychology found that country of origin labels change perceived quality even when the product is identical. Participants rated the exact same wine higher when it was labeled as coming from a prestigious country. The liquid did not change. The label did. Step 2. He built the supply chain as a story, not a production line. Grey Goose vodka is made from soft winter wheat grown in the Picardy region of northern France. That is a factual statement. What is also factual is that this specific detail was chosen, marketed, and amplified not because it made the vodka taste better, it cannot because vodka is legally required to taste like nothing, but because it gave journalists, bartenders, and consumers a sentence to repeat. The wheat used in Grey Goose comes from 3 farming cooperatives in Picardy. Family farms, 11th generation. Farmers who bite a stalk of wheat to know when it is ready to harvest. Mark Egret, one of those farmers, is featured in Grey Goose's official marketing. His face, his land, his century-old farm, they become emotional content. They become the human story that makes neutral spirit feel artisanal, authentic, real. But here's the question nobody asked. Does the specific wheat variety change the final vodka? The distillation process used by Grey Goose removes essentially all organic compounds from the grain. The 5-step distillation strips away everything that would carry flavor from the wheat into the finished spirit. The wheat, including which farm it came from, including whether it was harvested by hand or machine, is irrelevant to what you taste in your glass. The farmers are not ingredients. They are set dressing. That is not a harsh judgment. It is a precise one, and it is the core of the luxury laundering operation. Build a supply chain that generates emotional content, not product quality. Make consumers feel the weight of 11 generations and 300 years of French farming every time they pour a drink. The drink does not change. The feeling does. Step 3. He priced it as a signal, not a reflection of cost. This is the part that behavioral economists find most fascinating. Grey Goose launched at $30 when every other premium vodka sat between $15 and $17. That $13 gap was not a margin calculation. It was a communication strategy. In psychology, this is called the Veblen effect. Named after economist Thorstein Veblen, who in 1899 observed that for certain goods, a higher price actually increases demand, because the price itself becomes the product. What you are buying is not the liquid. You are buying the right to say, out loud or just to yourself, that you paid $30 for your vodka. That statement carries social information. It signals that you have taste, income, and standards. It separates you from the people ordering the well vodka. And that separation, that tiny invisible status gap, is worth $13 to millions of people every weekend at bars across the world. Sidney Frank understood the Veblen effect before most MBA students had read about it. He once said, if it's the most expensive, they'll buy it. That was not arrogance. That was economics. Now here is the part that should genuinely disturb you. By 2004, Grey Goose controlled 85% of the entire super premium vodka category in the United States, a category that had not existed before 1997. Sidney Frank did not enter a market. He manufactured one, and then he dominated it. In June 2004, Bacardi, one of the largest spirits corporations on the planet, wired $2.2 billion in cash to acquire Grey Goose. Not stock, not a payment plan, cash. Bacardi believed they were purchasing a machine, an asset that would generate luxury margins indefinitely. They were buying the supply chain story, the farmers, the Picardy fields, the cognac limestone water, the frosted bottle. What they were actually purchasing was a moment, and moments expire. Here is what Bacardi did not understand about what they bought. The Grey Goose operation had run on one thing above everything else, the personal taste of Sidney Frank. He knew which bartender to call, which nightclub mattered this week, which celebrity would carry the bottle naturally, and which one would look like a paid appearance. The luxury laundering machine required a human operator with cultural intelligence. Bacardi replaced that human operator with quarterly targets and global brand guidelines. Within a few years, something was quietly happening in Austin, Texas. A man named Tito Beveridge, and yes, that is his legal name, was making vodka in a shed, by hand, using a pot still typically used for whiskey. No French fields, no limestone springs, no frosted glass, no wooden crates. He priced it low. He called it handmade. He positioned it as the opposite of Grey Goose. By 2021, Tito's handmade vodka was the best-selling spirit in the United States. Not best-selling vodka, best-selling spirit, all categories. Beer, whiskey, tequila, everything. The brand Bacardi paid $2.2 billion for had been overtaken by a man in a shed with a different story. And this is the moment where this story stops being about vodka entirely. Because what killed Grey Goose's dominance was not a better product. There is no better product in vodka. They are all neutral spirits. What killed it was a shift in the cultural moment. By the early 2000s, consumers had moved. The status signal had rotated. Aspirational luxury was no longer French and premium, it was authentic and craft. The story that worked in 1997 had aged. And Bacardi, running the machine on spreadsheets, missed the shift completely. But here is the uncomfortable truth sitting underneath all of this. None of this is illegal. Grey Goose really does use Picardy wheat. The water really is filtered through limestone and cognac. Francois Thibault is a real master distiller. Marc Aigret is a real farmer. The deception is not in the facts. The deception is in the framing, in the suggestion, never quite stated, always heavily implied, that these things make the vodka taste better, that the 11 generations on that French farm travel through the distillation process and arrive intact in your glass. They do not. They cannot. The science does not allow it. And the regulators, for the most part, look away, because no single claim is technically false. What you are paying for is a story that has been engineered so precisely at every touch point. The farmer's face, the limestone spring, the frosted glass, the wooden crate, the $30 price, that your brain assembles a quality experience before the liquid ever reaches your lips. A 2008 California Institute of Technology study confirmed this neurologically. Researchers gave participants the same wine at 2 different price points. The group who believed they were drinking the more expensive wine showed measurably greater activity in the medial orbitofrontal cortex, the region of the brain associated with experienced pleasure. Not imagined pleasure, experienced. The neurons were firing differently. The premium price had literally rewired the tasting experience in real time. Grey Goose did not sell vodka. Grey Goose sold a neurological event. And every brand that followed, every craft gin, every small batch bourbon, every single origin coffee, every clinical-looking supplement bottle with the carbon black label, learned the architecture from this one case, the supply chain as narrative prop, the origin story as status infrastructure, the price as the actual product. Now let's talk about Grey Goose VX. In 2014, Bacardi launched a new Grey Goose product, Grey Goose VX. It stands for Vodka Exceptionnel. It sells for $100, twice the price of standard Grey Goose. The formula? 95% Grey Goose vodka, a neutral spirit with no taste, and 5% Armagnac. Armagnac is a type of French brandy. Let that sink in. A bottle of liquid that is 95% tasteless by legal definition, with 5% flavored spirit added, sold at $100. The standard bottle, remember, sells for around $50 at retail. That 5% flavor content, that tiny addition of cognac-adjacent spirit, represents a 100% price increase. A financial analyst once calculated that if you purchased a standard bottle of Grey Goose and added the same proportion of a comparable Armagnac yourself, you could recreate the blend for approximately $20 less than the retail price of Grey Goose VX. The product is not the blend. The product is the permission to tell someone at a bar that you ordered the VX. And this is where we pull the lens back to the full picture. Grey Goose is not an outlier. It is a blueprint. The operation that Sidney Frank ran between 1997 and 2004 has been replicated across industries with minimal modification. You are paying 40 euros for a moisturizer whose active ingredient costs less than $1 per unit. The premium is in the clinical-looking black packaging and the word laboratory. You are paying $80 for a gym protein powder because the label shows an athlete and uses the word engineered. You are paying extra for an airline seat that is 1 row further forward and comes with a sticker that says priority. Every one of these operations uses the same machine Sidney Frank built. Supply chain as emotional content. Origin story as price justification, packaging as the real product, price as the loudest signal. The question is not whether you have been fooled. Statistically, if you have ever purchased a premium good based on a feeling rather than a measurable difference, you have participated in a luxury laundering operation. The question is whether knowing the machine changes anything. Because here is the part that should genuinely unsettle you. The 2008 Caltech study did not just show that premium prices change how you think you experience something, it showed that they change how you actually experience it, at the neurological level. which means the luxury laundering operation does not just take your money, it reaches inside your brain.